It's
Nigel Saunders Ficus Friday. Hi everyone, welcome to another fabulous Ficus Friday. Today I'm going to start off with a very small ficus, my Ficus Elastica clump style. In December of last year, I repotted my Ficus Elastica into this small bonsai pot. I hard pruned it down in size, hoping to create a small clump style Ficus Elastica planting. I also did some fairly major root reduction to get a flat radial root base. I piled the soil up fairly high on it, so my first step for today is I'm going to rake away some of the surface soil. All right, here I go. Just see what's happening here. I see, a thick kind of bulbous root there. These Ficus Elasticas kind of grow those tuber roots. They get quite large and bulbous. But not all of them. It does grow a regular root system too. You just have to trim those big bulbous roots out and replace them with the finer roots. So this is a true triple trunk. It's all growing from one root base. And it's growing quite small and compact. I think today I can get it even more compact with a bit of leaf pruning. I pruned these trees down to basically stumps. I think there were leaves on the big one here, but the other two were just stumps. I looked for leaf scars to try and determine where my new branches were going to grow in. So a bit of directional pruning. And it seems to have worked quite well. However, today I'm going to further refine the branch structure, picking my best branches and pruning away the others. So I've kind of got my soil level down now. The trees seem very happy in this soil. They look very healthy too. Okay, I'll just tamp the surface soil back down and I can begin the pruning. So I'll keep the tree out in the greenhouse here. It's small enough, it doesn't take up much space. That'll help keep the leaves more compact, being in the sunshine. Okay, so there it is. So the front of this planting is, I think, right about here. You're looking kind of at the front there. I'm going to start the branch and leaf selection now. So I have an old leaf here. If you look in here, you can see there was a leaf sticking out from the plant here, and at the base of that leaf was a dormant bud that activated and grew a branch. So I can remove that the leaf that started it all right here. That's gone. It cleans up the structure a bit. Same thing here. You can see there was a leaf here. Just above that leaf is a dormant bud that activated, so I can prune the lower leaf off now. Like that. Same up here. There's the original leaf. A new shoot has grown from that dormant bud, so I can remove the original leaf off. I'm just looking to see if there's any more places like that. Not really. Okay, so I think the front of my planting is somewhere here with the biggest tree up front, the medium one in the back, and the small one to the side. There's a root sticking up here I'm going to cut off. This tree has lots of roots now. That was a mushy root. It has lots of roots. They're growing out the bottom of the drainage holes, which I'll just prune off. Like that. And then there's some branches growing in towards each other. There's a branch here that grows towards the medium-sized tree, and off the medium-sized tree there's a branch that grows towards the larger tree. So I want to clean those out. I don't want branches kind of interfering with each other.
So here I go. So this branch has to come off on the inside here, like that. And then the branch on the inside of the medium-sized one has to come off also. There we go. And then on the smallest tree down here, there is also one growing on the inside that I'm going to remove. Once again, I want all my branches fanning out towards the light, not growing towards each other. So that cleans up the structure a bit. My next step is I'm going to try and balance a bit of the vigor. You can see the shoots up top are really getting vigorous, getting larger leaves, growing with a lot of vigor compared to some of the smaller ones below. The shoots aren't long enough to prune back yet. So all I can do is remove leaves to take some of the vigor out. So I'm doing leaf pruning or partial defoliation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the leaves that are growing in towards the center of the tree. So there's an example back here. Here's an example. So this leaf is growing in towards the center of the tree. Here's the center of the tree here. So this leaf is pointing to the inside. So I'm going to take that out like that. This one here, it's sort of fanning out, and same with this one. But I've got, leaves beside it that are really fanning out. So I'm going to take these ones off just to cut the vigor of these branches down a bit. Like that. So that's, that looks good. I think that's all I need to do with the, balancing of the vigor operation. Here's a look at the tiny Ficus Elastica all pruned up for today. I'll rotate it around so you can see it from all angles. So here I go.
Usually when you think of rubber trees, you think of plants with great big leaves. I'm going to try and keep this little rubber tree really small and tiny with small leaves. See how it develops in the future. I think it'll be very interesting to see what kind of little bonsai I can get out of a Ficus Elastica or rubber tree. The next tree I'll be working on is my Ficus Lyrata or Fiddle Leaf Fig. It has giant leaves. Here's a look at the last leaf to form. It is just giant. It's like twice the size of my hand. Here's a look at the front view of the tree, and you can see there's leaves. You can't even really see the trunk on it. So I'm going to do a little leaf pruning. I'll take off this one that's blocking your view of the root base, and it also makes it hard to water because you can't get in under the leaves. So off goes this lowest leaf, like that. Now you can see the trunk a little better. There's another leaf here that could come off. It's an older leaf growing from I think that was the original leaf that the new branch grew up from, the dormant bud. So off comes this older leaf. I think, or is that a shoot? No, that is a branch actually. Huh, do I want that branch there is the question. So you can see there's a branch coming up here. I've got a shoot coming off the bottom and a bud at the top. So I don't know, maybe I want those. I better leave it on. Here's an older leaf. This one can come off, so I'll take this one off here, like that. I had, in the plant room, there was a slug eating my leaves on it. So there's that one is kind of eaten away. I think there's another one, yeah, over here. You can see this part of the leaf was eaten away. So I found the slug and I put it safely outside under some compost. So that got rid of that problem. There's another leaf here facing downwards, a small one that can be removed. Like that. I've got to keep this one on that branch. Here's an older leaf. This one can be removed. It is a leaf, right? Yeah. Okay. I really like this plant. I think it's interesting. I love the leaves on it, even though they're giant and ridiculous looking for a bonsai. I just really like it. Here's another leaf I can prune off. There's another leaf here I can take off. I'm wondering if I should just defoliate the entire tree and then have new leaves grow in outside here in the greenhouse. I think I will. I'll see what happens. I'm going to do total defoliation. Then I can leave the tree out in the greenhouse here, and the new leaves, the outdoor leaves, will grow in. You can see these ones are all crooked because they were growing towards the window. So I think the plant will look a lot nicer with, you know, horizontal leaves on it. So off the leaves come. There's the buds. The new shoots are surrounded by this kind of brown papery covering. Not the most attractive, but different. So you can see this is our new leader here. I'll take this one off. I have no idea how this plant will react to defoliation, but we will find out. I don't think it'll kill it. So hopefully it'll just develop new smaller leaves. I mean, they got to be smaller than this giant leaf up here. So that's defoliated except for the apex now, so I'll tackle that. And I'm going to, there we go, there's that giant leaf off. It's not ever big. Comes this one off now. And one more. Gotta make sure I'm not cutting through buds here. Okay, so there's a new leaf coming out here. That should be fine. That should grow as an outdoor leaf. So that's it. It's defoliated. There's my tree. Looks a little more like a bonsai. So one of the reasons I'm growing this species is that tree I saw in the greenhouse had these beautiful fin buttress roots. So I'm hoping, you know, this species naturally gets those kind of fin rocket type roots at the base of the tree. So we'll see as this matures. We'll see how it develops. I'll rotate it around first just for reference, and we'll see how it develops in the future. So here I go. A couple of days ago, I was working on my Ficus microcarpa, the one I grew from a seed. I defoliated the tree outdoors, and a couple of days later, I saw a rabbit eating the leaves, and I thought, really, they're edible? And so I looked it up online, and many of the ficus leaves are edible. However, if you have a latex allergy, they don't recommend you eat them. And people also make ficus leaf tea out of it, which I'd never heard of that before. So I'm going to put these Ficus Lyrata leaves outside, and we'll see if the rabbits eat them. I wouldn't recommend you try eating ficus leaves. I would check with your doctor first, but there are sources on the internet that say they are edible. The next tree I'll be working on today is my Ficus bengalensis. It is also very hard to water with those lower leaves. So I'm going to prune off the lower leaves so I can get the watering can in there a little more easily. All right, here I go, removing the lower leaves so I can get the watering can in here. So I'll just cut them kind of halfway through, like that. That. And I'll go a little higher. This is a tall plant. Oh, one more. And that's it. Now I can get in here and water the tree really easily with my water fertilizer mixture.
I just have a very, very small amount, microdose of 20-20-20 in here. And every time I water, I'm fertilizing very weakly too. Okay, so that's coming out the bottom of the pot now. When I planted this tree in the root maker pot, it had a very shallow, kind of flat radial root system. And now I see there's roots growing out the bottom of the pot here. Out of the holes in the pot and air drying. You can see roots here. There's one there, one here, one here. So the root maker pot is working quite well. My goal for this tree is just to build it up in thickness, and then I'll be doing a hard pruning and then kind of beginning the bonsai styling. I think you'll see this tree grow quite vigorously this summer. It'll probably double or maybe triple in thickness. And I may have to do a midsummer repot on it just to keep those roots under control. The next ficus I'll be working on is a Ficus religiosa cutting, and it's planted in one of Isabella's pots. Beautiful pot. I'm just going to be pruning it down in height today, so kind of a hard prune. Get some branches growing. I get a lot of questions of how do I get a thicker trunk on my bonsai? Well, the answer is you let it grow and then you prune it back. And you let it grow again and you prune it back. Let it grow again and prune it back. And over many years, you'll build up this diameter of the trunk, you'll build up the taper of the trunk, and you'll build up some branch structure. So that's what I'm hoping to achieve today. So I think this is the front of the tree. So I'm going to prune it off to a branch that faces forward so the trunk continues to grow a bit towards the viewer. So I'm going to prune it off right here. And I notice there's some scale insects on some of the leaves here, this leaf stems. So I'm going to have to scrape those off and spray it with soap and water. There's a close-up look of the scale blisters. You can see there's one here. I'll just scrape it off. Mush it in my hands. Another one here, a little one. And one over here. Two over here. Like that. And another one here. Okay. Now, you should check under your leaves. So here's another one on the bottom of the leaf here. Another one here. Get those off. Check all your leaves. So, okay. Another one here. All right, here I go with the soap and water. I always spray the surface of the soil in case there's insects crawling across the surface. And then I give everything a really, really thorough rinsing. I just missed some scales over here on the trunk. I should have looked at the back side. Oh dear. Yeah, there's a lot of scales on the trunk here. So I've got those off now. I better spray that one more time with my soap and water. It's so easy to overlook, you know, even one or two scale blisters, and then your problem comes back because you haven't got them all off. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, I'll let that sit again. Yeah, I should have rotated it around and checked from all sides. Had a whole bunch on the back side there, and none on the front, which was surprising. Flush all that soap out of the soil. And that is it. My Ficus religiosa in Isabella's pot can go back on the bench. None of the ficus I've worked on today are exciting ficus. They're just
little trees in training, but that's how you develop a really good ficus. You start with a small tree and develop it slowly and carefully over many, many years, and you'll end up with a really outstanding bonsai. The last ficus I'll be working on today is my Sabre leaf ficus. The new growth is growing in, and I just want to prune the tips of it to get a bit of ramification. Some of the branches are more vigorous than others, and I want to prune the tips off some of them just so it kind of equalizes the vigor of the tree, so I don't get some long shoots growing way up out of the profile of the canopy. So generally the ones in the apex here need a little more pruning than the branches down lower. So I'm going to start up here in the apex, and I'm just going to prune the tip off the branch. I've got one here, and I'm using directional pruning, so all my branches are fanning outwards. I might even take that a little shorter. There's one here I can prune back. One here. There's one growing up the inside here. I better get rid of that because it's only going to thicken up and take vigor away from the branches I want to develop on the outside of the tree. So that comes off. These branches are fairly weak down low, and I pruned the apex, so that's taking care of that part of the tree. There's a branch shooting straight up here. I can remove that one totally. So doing a bit of shoot selection. Over here, there's two branches growing side by side. I'm going to pick the one that's fanning out the nicest and remove the other one. So, well, they're both nice. I'll prune the one that's closest to the trunk, so it gives that branch a little more room to develop. Prune the tip off here. Another one growing from the inside over here, so I'll get rid of that. New shoot. This one's growing with too much vigor. I'll just prune it. Tip it. Same here, I'll just tip it. Another vigorous one here. I'll take this part off. It's starting to grow up into this canopy up here. Same with this one. Same with this one. And probably this one too. Yeah. Taking those tips off so everything kind of fans out more. And now we're up in the upper structure here. So always looking good there. Here I've got three branches going from one spot. I'm going to get rid of this one here in the middle. And I think the one at the back too. Keeping just the one that's kind of fanning out nicely. There's a branch here going straight up. I have a nicer one fanning out, so I'll get rid of this part of it, like that. Just cleaning that structure out a bit. Nothing has developed from here, which is interesting. Maybe something will in the future, but I'm going to take this one back to there. I think I better take this one back further and tip this one. Okay, this is really, taking it back so it can grow once again. I think I'll take off this vertical one at the apex here. Subdivide it there. Okay, I think that's it for the pruning. I'll rotate the tree around so you can see it from all angles, so here I go. And back to the front. I can see in the future maybe reducing this apex down. I have some shoots growing out here and one here. I could, take part of that vertical section off in the future, developing more of a canopy.
We'll see how these branches grow. Once they're strong enough, I'll look at reducing the height. That is all for this fabulous Ficus Friday. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.